All right, so if you're like me and you really want to be healthy, you want to reduce your risk of, Alzheimer's disease, cancer, stuff like that, then you need to get on your green tea and on your coffee. Okay. Now, let's talk about why. If you're already drinking those, then cool. Let me explain why. So, it just so happens that green tea and coffee are very high in antioxidants, which you probably heard of, but you may not necessarily know what that means practically. Okay. So, let me explain what antioxidants are so that you can kind of understand what's going on here. Now, all an antioxidant is a substance that inhibits oxidation, antioxidant against oxidation. Okay, so that's kind of self-explanatory. But again, another question arises. Well, what in the world is oxidation? So what oxidation is it's a normal part of oxygen metabolism. Think about we inhale to get oxygen in, and that oxygen actually is used for a variety of cellular processes inside of our bodies. Okay, and so as a normal part of oxygen metabolism in your body produces what's called reactive oxygen species. It's kind of like, like if you're driving in your car and your car gives off exhaust as a byproduct of gas combustion. So, this is kind of like a similar kind of thing. So this is just a normal part of living and metabolizing oxygen. Now, what happens is when we do certain things, it actually increases the levels of oxidation. Okay, so like for example, smoking or using other drugs, chronic stress. That means like stress over a long term, which we're not necessarily built for. Having a poor diet, aka a diet like the standard American diet, the SAD diet, being excessively exposed to sunlight. Sunlight, actually, of course, as we know, is beneficial for us, but we're talking about really being burned and stuff like that. And even intense exercise can increase oxidation. Now, the reason why an increase in oxidation can be a negative thing is because we are on the other side of things, perhaps not getting enough antioxidants to balance out the oxidation. Because what happens is when that is in balance, where you have a lot more oxidation, and with less antioxidants or not enough antioxidants, you experience what's called oxidative stress. That's the term given for that imbalance, and that imbalance is what leads to a lot of the diseases that we see in America, cancer, heart disease, neurodegenerative disease like Alzheimer's, and so on and so forth. Okay. And so that's why antioxidants come into play and are extremely important. Coffee, which I tend to drink coffee almost every morning, and green tea happen to be some of the foods or drinks, whatever you want to call them, highest in antioxidants. And the fact that a lot of people drink coffee on a daily basis or tea on a daily basis is 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 what makes these beverages actually a very, very high source of antioxidants in the human diet. Now, of course, if you're drinking coffee, I think the quality, you have to really consider the quality of the coffee. So if you're doing like, maybe pre-made coffee, pre-ground, which I don't have an issue with pre-ground, but especially if it's like, maybe instant with, powdered creamer and a whole lot of sugar or a lot of artificial sweetener, that's going to be actually a lower quality coffee, and it's going to be detrimental to your health at the same time, while you might be getting in whatever antioxidants are left in there. Okay, I do put sugar and cream in my coffee, but creamer I put basic, half and half. A little bit of basic, half and half. I put a little bit of sugar, just enough to taste. And then with my green tea, then I put a little raw honey in there. And, again, to taste. I don't make candy green tea. But anyway, I drink, my container that I use to keep my coffee warm, it probably holds about a cup and a half of coffee. And then this is the green tea that I try to drink in the afternoon. This actually might be a little bit more than a cup as well, because a cup, if I'm not mistaken, is 8 ounces. Now, I think coffee may be higher in antioxidants than green tea, but I also want you to understand too that plant foods like your leafy greens, onions and garlic, a lot of the other colored vegetables and even fruits, berries and stuff like that, very high in antioxidants, which tends to point to, in my opinion, that we need to have a very, very high consumption of plant foods, like a plant-based diet. It has a lot of those in there. But then we also need to be mindful of, are we doing things that are increasing oxidation, beyond what it really needs to be? As far as intense exercise producing oxidation, okay? Now, exercise is something that is beneficial, but it is a stress. And so what happens is you just need to make sure that you recover from that, okay? Consume a lot of antioxidants, some in the form of coffee and green tea, a lot of vegetables, get your rest, have good stress, um, um, for lack of better words, tolerance techniques, and recover in between workouts, okay? And so that's what's going to help you get the benefit from exercise rather than it actually being detrimental to you to exercise, if that is understandable. So drink your coffee, drink your green tea, and also know this too before I let you guys go. Study the Japanese culture. They're known for having very high consumption of green tea. I think it's 2 to 4 cups a day. And it just so happens that they have some of the healthiest population in the world. Obviously, green tea is not the only thing. I think there's also their overall diet. There's their social connections and whatnot. But green tea is definitely one of those things that helps them to have exceptional health. Okay, so get your green tea, get your coffee, like and subscribe. Have a good day. As we get older, it becomes increasingly important to maintain and build muscle. Muscle helps you burn fat, stay mobile, and can contribute to longevity. However, many people have no idea how to work out to build muscle. My mini workout series on Patreon provides you with my body weight mini workout video library. These workouts use little to no equipment, which means that you can do them in the privacy of your own home. They start at beginner level and progress from there to ensure you continue to see results. Every workout is a full body workout, hitting chest, back, legs, and glutes, as well as other muscles in between. Become a patron today and receive access to my series of mini workouts, plus access to a digital copy of my book, 8 Weeks to Transform Your Diet and Your Health. By combining the workouts with healthy diet changes, as outlined in my book, you'll definitely be on your way to weight loss, improved health, and visible results. Join me at patreon.com/SeanB2B Fitness today.